Okay, so today I'm going to be showing you guys how to recreate this lead synth in Serum. And yeah, I'm just going to switch back and forth between the original lead and the one I've recreated to give you an idea. So just to give you maybe a better idea, here's a bit of the original track of the drop without the lead, and then I'll add the lead that I made halfway through. So yeah, that's the lead. It's pretty close to the original thing. Maybe the EQing or maybe the reverb isn't exactly the same, but I mean, it's really hard to tell the difference. So yeah, basically it's the basic Serum patch, which I'll be showing you guys now, and then just 3 really basic audio effects, so multiband compression, and EQ8, which literally every DAW I think has, and then a dimension expander. So this is always from Xfer, the so same maker Serum or whatever you want to call it. So you can download this from the same website as Serum. Basically, it's free, and yeah, it's a good plugin. I'd recommend getting it. So yeah, everything else is free except for Serum. So yeah, basically let's get into it. I'm gonna create a new MIDI track, and here we've got just the MIDI clip. So I'll put this along with the preset in the description. So if you guys want to download this, that's fine. And yeah, let's pop a Serum in. Plop. There we go. Okay. So first things first, I'm gonna actually lower the volume here a bit and solo this. So it sounds, the notes will sound too long now, and that's because of the MIDI clip. So let's immediately start with the envelope. So let's put the attack at 1.1. I'm going to type these in actually, 1.1. The hold, I'm going to put that at 31 milliseconds, just because I really want, I'm going to lock this by the way. I just really want the attack to be at its max power, at least for the first few milliseconds. Sustain all the way down, and decay at 123 milliseconds, so a bit shorter. So we've got this, and we're gonna actually change the shape of this to something maybe more like this. So it kind of like almost sounds like a plug, basically. Okay, so next thing is portamento. So turn the always button on and put 4 milliseconds on, and this kind of just, it's subtle, but I like the effect that it gives, so I leave it there. It doesn't make a huge difference, but yeah. So next up, let's have a look at the wavetable. So we'll use both as oscillators. First, on oscillator A, we can just leave the default as it is with the saw wave. Turn the unison up to 11, and the detune to maybe like 34, and the uni blend to like maybe 84. So we've got basically this. So standard detune saw. I'll turn this off just while we're working on oscillator B. So we're gonna use a pulse wave. So go to analog, basic shapes, and then it's number 5 on the wavetable position. So here we've got a pulse wave. This is going to be a secondary sound, so the saws should be our main sound, so we'll take the volume down to like 64%. It's not going to be much quieter, but just a bit. Unison up to 7, and the detune to like 0.22, so just under 12 o'clock. So this will sound like this. And together. Okay. Next up, filter. We're actually going to use this only for the drive, so select MG low 6 and put the cutoff way up there. So select A and B for the oscillators going in, and put the drive up to 40%. So we're only using this for the drive. Okay, and then you can skip this step if you don't like it. On envelope 2, I put this on the coarse pitch, and it's just to give it like a bit of attack. So I put -3 on both of them. -3. Then in the matrix, make sure that the type, just click on these 2 arrows under type to make sure that it's one arrow going in one direction. So there we go. And we're gonna put attack 0.3, no hold, decay, well, sustain all the way down, and the decay will be like something really small, like 2 milliseconds, just to exaggerate the sound, so you understand what it's doing. It's, if we put it at like 2 milliseconds, you can skip that. It doesn't make a huge difference, but I kind of like it. Okay, so that's that. Then effects. So this is where most of the stuff actually really happens, when it starts to sound more like that big kind of lead. So first thing is just boom, chorus as it is. It kind of just spreads the sounds out a bit. So that's what that does. Next up is the EQ. So we'll move that after the chorus. And the frequency goes at like 12 o'clock. Q can go like 40%. If I can get that, I'm just going to type it, 40. And the gain, we can put that like minus 21%, dB, sorry. Too many values. So minus 21 dB. So basically all we're doing with the EQ, we're leaving the highs as they are. Just with the low shelf, we're cutting that quite a lot. So this is what it sounds like without, and this with. And now we're kind of left with the highs from the Super Saw, which are a bit too harsh. So we're going to use a filter which is a bit more precise to cut them. So just leave the MG low 6. And we don't want a harsh cut because that would sound maybe a bit unnatural. So like 5,500 hertz is fine. Leave the resonance as it is. Drive and filter variation, we'll put those up to 33%. So 33 and 33. Okay, and this is what it sounds without and with. That's without, and this is with. So we're kind of squeezing, as you can see. This is like getting rid of the lows, and this is getting rid of the highs. So we're kind of squeezing it into like the middle of the spectrum a bit. Next up is the compressor. So we're gonna do multi-band compression. And I'm no guru at this, so I leave all of these as they are. I just put like the gain up to like 14 dB should be fine. Yeah, as long as it's not clipping too much, or it shouldn't clip at all. It's clipping just a tad, so maybe like 13.7. Okay, 0.5. Okay, next up is the not delay, the reverb, I don't know how you pronounce it. I think it's reverb. And we're gonna put the plate on. So it's going to be plate, not whole. Size, bring that down to 33%. Okay, I'm going to type this in. 33%. Pre-delay to like 14 milliseconds should be fine. Low cut as it is. High cut at 52%, and then the damp at like 22%. And the width all the way up. And then the mix, we're going to put that all the way up at 40%. So this is without, and this is with. So that makes a big difference already. We're gonna turn on then the hyper dimension, and we're gonna get rid of the mix of the hyper, and just for the dimension, we're gonna put the size at like something like 3%, and then the mix at 60%. So here, and so that's basically the patch. So okay, and then as I said before, you can do some fine tweaking. So if you're on Ableton, what I did is just literally, I know I'm a total noob with multi-band compression. I don't really understand it that well. Hopefully I'll improve in the future, but it's just like literally the preset multi-band compression, put it on, and it sounds good enough. So that's that. Then we have normal compression, and I'm just gonna I'll close this. I'm just gonna copy this, so control and drag it on this channel, and so the ratio is like 2.5. Like the most important thing here is the attack. It's it's like a bit higher than what you'd usually see. And I'm just doing that so the attack kind of peaks up a lot more than the other sounds, so it kind of sounds more plucky. So here it is without and with. So without. You can kind of hear it kind of has a transient almost, the attack. So so yeah, I like the effect that that does. Next up is the EQ, so I'll copy that as well. You can see here the number one is just like a harsh high pass filter at 100 hertz more or less, and then number four is a smoother high pass filter at 400 hertz, and then going from there we've got like from 500 hertz to 3,400 more or less hertz. We're just boosting those frequencies a bit. Make sure, like, just notice that the Q here, like for number 5, it's quite wide. So it's 0.41, I think, yeah. So it's quite wide, so it's boosting it a lot. And finally, we've got a high pass, a high shelf. What's it actually called? Whatever, a high shelf, I think it's called. And that's just like literally starting at 15,000 hertz. We're just cutting those highs quite a bit. So it sounds like this. And I like that because it really gets rid of those lows again, and it kind of makes it sound almost empty. Like, it works really well with the reverb, in my opinion. And then finally we've got, where is it? I can never find it. The dimension expander. So all I did with the dimension expander was I set the size to like something almost 0, something like that, and then the wet all the way up. So this is the final result. So yeah, I hope you guys found that useful. You should have maybe now an idea of how to make a similar lead. The downloads for most of the stuff here will be in the description. And yeah, if you have any further requests or comments or questions, just leave a comment down and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Cheers.